Hey, welcome back to another exciting edition of Disney Movie Stack with the Gootz. And of course, I am Ray Gootz. And what a week it's been in the wonderful world of Disney. Disney Plus launched Tuesday morning. Not without its problems. Everyone everywhere has been watching it and basically watching what I've owned on DVD for like the last 15 years. I've owned all these movies this whole time on DVD and Blu-ray, but people are loving it. And there's some complaints, particularly about The Simpsons. I feel weird watching The Simpsons on a Disney platform. To me, that's still really fucking strange that Disney owns The Simpsons. Like, The Simpsons were like the anti-Disney. It's like, oh, you like, when I was a little kid, it's like, oh, you like Little Mermaid? Well, I like The Simpsons. You go suck my dick. But, yeah. Isn't it funny now the Little Mermaid has aged better than The Simpsons because they won't fucking go away? But that's the way it is. It's what a weird world. South Park is going to be owned by Disney one day. I predict Cartman will be in Wreck-It Ralph 3. There's nothing we can do to stop it, so we might as well just keep living our best life. Hey, so all the Disney cartoons are on Disney Plus, except for the one this week. Make Mine Music. It's not on the service. Now, there are some movies not on the service yet, but they give you a date, like Homeward Bound 2 and Homeward Bound 1 are going to go live this summer. I guess they have a deal with a network. I don't know what network that is. I don't know what network. We got to show Homeward Bound 1 and 2 for another 6 months. You can't take it away from us yet. Those are big rating movies. But Make My Music doesn't even have a placeholder. I guess there's just no plans to ever release Make My Music on Disney Plus. Your $6.99 a month ain't gonna get you this movie, baby. But you're gonna hear all about it with me and Allan Fuks. How did a little background on how I met Allan? Allan used to sell tickets at the World Comedy Club, which was the sister club to Broadway Comedy Club, and he used to have a little lantern with him. He had like a little light, and then he moved on to Greenwich, and now he's a really great comic. He doesn't sell any tickets anymore, but he's still doing his thing. And I met him now, 8 years ago, and I said, let's. We've done some road gigs together. We eat Chinese, eat Korean, whatever. They all have slanty eyes. It's a Disney podcast. The racism's expected. We go to a Korean place in Bayside. And it's pretty good there, Bayside in Queens, and we have a good time. And we've gone to see. We saw Solo, not Free Solo, but Solo, a Star Wars story, and what a piece of shit that was. It's not available on Disney Plus, by the way. Not available on Disney Plus. So I don't think you can log on to your fancy smancy Disney motherfucking Plus and watch Solo, because it's not there. It's not there yet. You got to go to Netflix to watch Solo. All right? You think you don't the net that is Flix. Why is the Spider-Man 60 show, 63, 67 cartoon, why is Spider-Man 67 not on Disney Plus? That's what I want to know. But Make My Music is not on Disney Plus. What a wasteland of weird movies I'm trapped in the middle while everyone in the world, 10 million people, 100 million? I don't know. The planet subscribed to Disney Plus this week, and I'm doing a movie that's not even on the service. Disney was like, not good enough. Not good enough. They put Rookie of the Year, but there was no room for this movie. They put Spider-Man Unlimited and Avengers United They Stand, two of the worst fucking cartoons you've ever seen. But they were like, we could not allow Make Mine Music on this service. But we're in the middle of it. Let me tell you something. When I get to the later movies, which is stuff like, there's somebody screaming outside my house. Like 101 Dalmatians, and I get to Jungle Book, and I get to Lady and the Tramp. These numbers are going to go through the roof, and people are going to go back and listen to the archives, and I'm going to encourage them to, and they're going to listen to it's a really good episode about this very not underrated, about adequately rated motion picture, Make My Music. And they're going to be like, what a great episode. So we are just building the backlog here. That's what we're doing. I don't expect to get new fans this week on Make Mine Music. But one day people come back and be like, you know what? That's a fucking good episode. You're about to hear it. If you're you're listening to this when it came out, good on you. Because this is the best goddamn Disney podcast you're ever going to hear. Now, next week's episode, Fun and Fancy Free, is on the service. Me and KC, when we did the R episode, or Kunal, as he like to be called now, I said it wasn't. He said it was. Well, it is on the service. So if you want to watch that before next week, then be my guest. That's another great episode. But yeah, I think you're really going to enjoy this episode about Make Mine Music. And of course, follow me on Instagram, Disney Movie Stack, and also Twitter, Disney Movie Stack. As soon as I get more than 10 followers, I will start posting some exclusive content there. But yeah, let's cut to a commercial, and then we're going to come back with Allan and his thoughts on Make Mine Music. Thank you so much for listening to Disney Movie Stack. What an exciting era we're entering. The era where everyone has access to these films. And I'm going to be here with you to guide you along the way. Thank you.
For dear life, hold on to your blood. Because your blood is their life. Because your nightmare is their reality. They are history's deadliest vampires, creating the panic only one man can stop. Captain Kronos, vampire hunter, with death at every doorway, trembling in every heart. Now, the terror must be challenged. Who lives to destroy the curse? Kill me! Kill me! Who duels to battle the undead?
Her youth will pulse through your veins, my darling.
Who dares to bleed the bloodthirsty?
Yes, you bleed, my lord.
At last, horror has met its match. Captain Kronos, Vampire Hunter, from Paramount Pictures. Rated R, under 17, not admitted without parent.
Hey everyone, welcome to Disney Movie Stack. This is Ray Gootz, and I'm here with Allan Fuks. Allan, how you doing?
Hey, what's up?
What's up, buddy? So, and we're here today to talk about Make Mine Music, the 8th film in Disney catalog. But first, let's get to know Allan a little bit. Allan, how long are you doing stand-up?
It's been a long fucking time.
Yeah, long time.
Long time. Probably at least 10 years at this point.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, and what made you get into stand-up comedy?
I made my best friend Sam laugh so hard, he pissed and farted himself.
And that was
and
when,
he fell off a chair.
And that was like, I have to do this all the time.
And then I was like, I waited a few years. I was too chicken shit to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually I took Tommy Koenig's class.
Wow.
Do you know Tommy Koenig?
Yeah, that's a blast from the past. Yeah.
That's a blast from the past.
Mm-hmm.
And then I dabbled in stand-up for a little bit, and then I got into it hardcore after my spinal surgery.
Oh, cool. And why'd you have spinal surgery? Because I'm sure the listeners are going to be like, what the fuck? How that happened?
Because I was working for this company, I was doing sales, I was trying to make a sale, I walked outside. It was a rainy day, the staircase was treated with some chemicals. I went flying up in the air, came crashing down with the base of my spine against the edge of the staircase.
Woo! That
and
sucks.
Destroyed my L5S1.
Mm-hmm.
Got to a point where I could barely move without being in agonizing pain. It would take me forever to get out of a car because if you even touched me, I would start screaming. I was in so much pain. I couldn't sort of like unfold myself.
Mm-hmm.
I had every procedure. I tried everything. Painkillers, acupuncture, chiropractor. Nothing worked. Eventually, I had spinal surgery, and now I'm okay.
Yeah, I never see you cry or anything.
No, I saved that.
You have no emotions, actually.
A lot of people think that.
So it's
no, I cried on the way here when I knew I had to do a podcast about Make Mine Music.
Yeah. Okay. So before we get into the movie, let's get to know about you a little bit more. How was your childhood? Tell us about your childhood.
Oh, my childhood?
Yeah.
Oh, that was just. I mean, it was like one happy day after another.
Really?
Yes, I had a father who was really just, peaceful and loving and supportive. And was like, son, you want to be a comedian and make fun of me on stage? Of course. Why not? Here's all the money I have to help you. No, he
he wasn't like that.
He was brutal. He was very, very brutal. Yeah.
Yeah, he
very brutal.
Yeah, he was. I've heard some stories, but why don't you share a story with listeners how rough your dad was?
All right. Let's see. What's a good rough dad story?
Yeah, give us one.
Okay, so I would run away from home because it was just too good. I need to get away from that paradise. And one time I got into I think it was he kept all his cars, right? So he had like this ancient Chevy Malibu that he gave me, and he had a Grand Marquis. And I tried running away from home. I think I was like 16, and we had a car chase, and he smashed into my car to stop me.
What a loving family.
He said that hurt him because he really cared about the cars.
No, not him. Not you.
Not me, no.
No.
He would teach me how to drive, and he would force me, and I was like really nervous driving around him because he's like a very intense guy who get like physical and everything. But he'd demand to teach me how to drive when I was in high school.
Okay.
And he had zero patience. He was not meant to be around children or living things.
But he had two of them.
He had two for whatever reason.
Did he chase your sister down the highway and smash into her? Or
No, she got out as soon as she could,
Okay.
went to college, never looked back. She moved far.
Right.
So what did he do? So one morning he's teaching me how to drive, and for some reason my mom's in the car, my sister, my Great Dane is in the back seat, and he's like telling me he's trying to control his rage at me, which is even scarier. So he's like, he'll be like, "You're turning too wide," and I'm like, "Okay, all right, I'll try." And I'm still learning, second time, he's same thing, too wide. Third time, I made a wide turn, and he just punched me in the face.
Wow.
The car spins out of control, goes through the fence into the football field, and he yelled at me. And I'm like, "What are you yelling at me? Like, you punched me in the face." And he's like, how are you not able to take a punch?
How old were you at the time?
And he's like, and also you got to learn how to defend yourself.
Well, you're driving.
I'm trying to teach you how to drive and also how to defend yourself.
Because when you're driving, people are going to be punching you repeatedly in the face.
Yeah, like
That's
you got to
how
learn to, maybe like use one hand on the wheel, the other hand to block. And I mean, come on.
By the way. So continue. Yeah.
And what else? What's a good dad story?
Let's get another one. By the
He
way,
found creative ways to punish me. Like he'd make me kneel in salt in the corner for
Is that when he caught you
a long
masturbating?
time. Oh no, he was a masturbation cop of the house.
Okay.
So he always knew when I was jerking off. It was like a special, he was like the most worthless X-Man.
I can tell when you masturbate, Magneto.
I can sense masturbators. So he, whenever he suspected I was masturbating in a room, he would bash the door down.
Jesus.
So in my teens, there's not a door left in the house that was on its hinges. So one time I was in the bathroom, he bashed the door down, and I think I actually was masturbating this one time. And he just attacked me with my dog. With my Great Dane.
The dog went after you.
The dog went after me.
Wow.
And I think I'm trying to remember this. It was so traumatic, but I think I had an erection before, not during.
Because, the dog's here.
And that's the aristocrats.
Yeah.
And then he, it was listen, it was maybe a slightly atypical childhood. I don't know.
It sounds a little rough. This is the most intense Disney podcast
Isn't this Superman's backstory
You
on
could listen-
Smallville? Didn't Pa Kent do the same?
You can listen to 20 podcasts about Make Mine Music. They're not going to be like this. I'll tell you that much. So let me ask you this about your parents. When you were a kid, did you watch a lot of Disney? Did they take you to Disney movies, or were they too busy punching you and kneeling you in salt?
In between punches and salt kneeling, occasionally they would take me to stuff. No, my grandpa took me.
Was he into Disney?
I think he was into just everyone being quiet.
Okay.
So this meant I wouldn't have to talk to him. He'd just sit there in front of a screen. So I think he took me to Cinderella.
Okay. Because that was in theaters back then, yeah.
I think it was like a re-release or something.
Every 7 years they would re-release those old movies before VHS became a big deal, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I took my mom to see Beauty and the Beast.
Oh, did she like it?
On Broadway.
On Broadway.
And
okay.
she cried.
She cried. So she liked it.
Because
No.
I think she missed her opportunity to run away from my dad.
She's like, your dad is Gaston.
She's like, the movie, the show ended. I should have ran for the hills. No, I don't know. I mean, she really. It was. I don't think he took her out much.
So Disney. Safe to say, Disney was not a big part of your childhood.
I love Disney.
Oh, even as a kid.
As a kid, I love Disney.
Okay.
I just, it was. I would get drips and drabs, or just exposure wherever I can, or a friend. Somebody would have it, and I'd watch it with them.
Watch it. Okay. All
yeah.
right. Cool. And have you ever seen Make Mine Music before today?
First time.
First time.
Yes.
By the way, these next couple of movies are going to be a lot of people's first time because they're not very popular. So what'd you think of the movie?
It was racist, sexist. I think a hat got Me Too'd.
Well, a hat definitely was trying to rape hats.
There's a lot of hat rape. And a whale a singing whale got murdered for some fucking reason. Some lunatic went out to sea and wanted to kill this singing whale.
The big thing about all these Disney movies, everyone always talks about how timeless they are and how like they.
Yeah, this one's not.
This one's
not it. No.
This one was out of date in January 1st, 1947.
Before they released it, it was already. Yeah.
Well, so this is a weird movie. Real quick, if you haven't seen the movie, it's Fantasia, but like with popular music of.
It's
the
like
mid-40s.
Fantasia with worse ideas.
Yeah, it's like all the ideas of Fantasia that they were like, this is horrible. They put in this movie. However, I like this movie more than Fantasia. It's got a little bit more entertainment. You when was the last time you saw Fantasia?
Long time ago.
Yeah, sit through it now. Okay, the one good thing about it's an hour less. It's an hour shorter. This movie. So
yeah.
That to me is so. Let's go segment. It's a lot of different segments. So let's go by segment, and we'll get our thoughts on each one. First of all, this movie has been edited. This is not the complete movie.
No,
there's a segment.
Is there an unrated?
There's an unrated version out there.
One with more whale anal?
No, there's a whole segment that's taken out called The Martians and the Coys, and it's about this family of feuding Martians, and the Kingsmen. I guess was a group back then, sings the song, and the reason why they cut it out is because there's a lot of comical gunplay. So they thought that was not suitable for children.
Really?
But the hat rape was suitable, by the way.
I want to see this now.
Yeah,
how can we get our hands on it?
Maybe it's on YouTube or something. I don't know. But now that was the first thing in the movie, so the whole opening thing of the movie is gone. I think it's like almost like 10 minutes of the movie. But now the first segment is Blue Bayou, which is really a terribly boring song. Originally, they were supposed to. It was supposed to be Claire de Lune. You know Claire de Lune, right? That was in Ocean. Did you ever see Ocean's 11?
No.
Oh, wow, you're a piece of
that.
idiot, man. Your dad was right. Ben's dead.
You're a piece.
But what do you think of the Blue Bayou?
It's up there with the great ASMR videos. It's I mean, I've never felt sleepier. It's nice.
Okay. The next one I thought was an interesting segment. I actually like this segment. I like the art style. It's very different from anything you're ever going to see in other Disney movies. It's called All the Cats Join In. It was with Benny Goodman, and that was the one with the chicks, with the hot chicks.
Yes, I like
the hot teenagers.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's the shower scene.
Yeah, she was naked, and you also
naked.
kept seeing her underpants.
So the weird gigantic bloomers,
Granny panties.
the granny panties,
What'd you think of this segment?
which I like on a woman.
Yeah, no, I like.
Yeah, everyone I date, I make sure they
she
wear
was kind of
those.
sexy. Like she was like the
No,
first.
yeah, she was. Yeah.
Sexy. Like
Yeah.
I don't think Snow White was sexy.
Yeah.
And there was the Blue Fairy. Would you fuck the Blue Fairy?
No, they made Snow White asexual. Most of those.
Well, Barry Ribs
Disney
said he would fuck her when he did his episode.
Snow White.
Yeah.
Well, he's an old guy.
I know.
mean, what is he?
What about the Blue
He's gonna
Fairy?
say no. But listen, the live action Snow. Like when you go to like Disney World or whatever, or you ever see like those.
Oh,
chicks,
some live action.
when chicks dress up as Snow White, they're hot.
Yeah.
But the actual cartoon Snow White is like a 0.
0. Yeah. What about the Blue Fairy in Pinocchio?
I don't remember the Blue Fairy. Do you have a picture?
I mean, I don't want to.
Oh,
I'll show
okay.
you later.
Show me later.
She's a hot.
She's got to be hotter
she
than.
doesn't have big tits though. And then there's no chicks in Dumbo. There's none in Bambi. And so these are like the first hot animated chicks.
Yeah.
So this is a pretty historic film.
I like that starts with the jukebox and the phone.
That is a pretty it's interesting to see teenagers in
what
the
teenage
40s
life was back then.
before rock music.
Yeah.
Because these kids, you like when I first watched them, I'm like, oh, this is probably with the rock. And I'm like, there's no rock. Rock hasn't been invented yet.
No, and apparently neither were black people invented.
No, they weren't invented.
Like
No, they're in Dumbo. They're all working with Dumbo.
Oh, okay.
Now, the next one's
It's all whites.
Yeah.
All whiteys. Yeah.
The next one is a song by Andy Russell, who we all know. Who doesn't love Andy Russell? Without You, who is about lost love. What did you think of that segment?
Which one is that? Is that the rotoscope?
It's just no. It's just like a sad song. I can't remember it, and I just saw it. This is why you said let's wait. I go no. We're gonna forget all this fucking shit.
This is we are. They made this during World War II.
Well, they made
when all the soldiers were away, right? Everyone was
yes,
drafted.
the animators are away.
These are the
They had a
leftover
skeleton
people
crew,
who had to make this.
And also, they couldn't distribute these movies in Europe, so he just wanted to make movies until the war blew over and he could get to his real ideas.
Yeah,
so that's why there's like 6. This is the 3rd movie in the 6-movie series.
This is like a sizzle-less reel.
Yeah. Now the next one I actually saw when I was a kid. I don't know, but Fox 5 used to air Dumbo a lot on Sunday mornings.
Yeah.
And this segment, because Dumbo's a very short film, they need to pad it out. This segment sometimes would be before Dumbo. They would show it separately. Casey at Bat. What did you think of this one?
I like the misogyny.
Yes, that women are idiots.
The song literally what are the lyrics in the song that they literally know nothing?
Yeah, women know nothing. They just want to fuck Casey.
They just want they're there to ogle him.
Mm-hmm.
And he acts like a hotshot, and then he strikes out, loses the game, and he's still at the ballpark trying to swing at this ball. To me, it's like a Twilight Zone episode.
Well, yeah, it's a famous poem. That's actually a famous poem.
Yeah,
Casey at Bat. I liked it. I thought it was well animated. I thought it was interesting.
No, I like that he's still at the ball. I want to see him.
There's a sequel actually, but it was released
where he dies as a corpse still.
No,
he
has
ball that's
daughters and they become good at baseball.
Oh,
so
there you go.
He's redeemed by the women in his life.
Women's lib.
So next one is Two Silhouettes, and you were watching this. You were like, this is very well made. Dinah Shore. But who, by the way, is a big part of a lot of these movies in the weird era. What do you think of this with the ballet dancers?
It was trippy. It was really well made. It was that was ahead of its time.
Yeah, I thought that was
really well done. Yeah. And
now, Allan, this is the reason why I asked you to do this movie. I know you're probably wondering why the fuck does Ray want me to do Make Mine Music. This was a segment of. This is the reason why I wanted you to do it, which I think this is the best segment in the film. You could tell me if I'm wrong or if I'm right. Peter and the Wolf.
Right.
Now, this is a classic Russian musical composition by Sergei Prokofiev. How do you say it? You're Russian. Sergei what?
Sergei Prokofiev.
Prokofiev. Okay, so now there's a sinister motive behind Peter and the Wolf. Tell me, why this was made so popular with Russian children.
The kid is a pioneer. Those are like the Russian Boy Scouts.
Okay, yeah.
And so at first they made that. The idea was that they wanted to teach kids musical instruments. Mm-hmm. But all these musicians, all these artists were now living under communist rule. Mm-hmm. And they were being harassed all the time. It was like, a lot of oppressive regimes where they try to control all the art. So they were sending some of these people, like one of the women who was involved in creating Peter the Great was sent to a gulag.
Wow.
To a labor camp. and the guy who created it also had problems. They felt like it wasn't. They were suspicious of him because he spent time in America too.
Well, he did. That's how Disney got this. He was touring America in 1938. He played this for Walt Disney, and Walt Disney got the rights and said that he was going to put it in Fantasia, and then they couldn't put it in Fantasia, so he held off and put it in this movie.
Right.
But by the time this movie came out, the Iron Curtain was already down. It was when did World War II end? Do you remember the year?
46.
Yeah, so this is right after it ends, so the Iron Curtain's down. So Sergei never even saw this version.
No, and it's weird because there was a period of time when we were allies in World War II before the Iron Curtain, where like you see like there's Russian writing in this movie.
Yeah,
the
it's very
Cyrillic
pro-Russian.
letters. Yeah, it's not pro-Russian, but it's not anti-Russian.
It's not Russians,
yeah.
Fucking jerk-offs. Yeah, they're like kind of celebrated, but
just there were like pro-communist messages in it.
Oh yeah, even in this version.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
what are the pro? Give us some of the
because you have to think about like the revolution, right? When the revolution happened, you still had people who were against it, and there was like the older generation. So they were creating all this art, all this propaganda art, Soviet prop art that showed the older people as out of touch, and like the younger kids or the really brave
that's why
heroes
Peter can catch the wolf.
It's man overcoming nature,
and the wolf is basically people like us, basically. Yeah, right.
The wolf is, I think, the enemy of the state.
Okay. Yeah. It's so far. I had a storybook of this when I was a kid.
Yeah.
My parents had this 4-volume. One volume was like was adaptations of all the animated films. One volume was nature, like Disney's nature documentaries, but in book form. One volume was like their history documentaries, and one volume was a bunch of short stories based on short segments. And the best illustrations were Peter and the Wolf. So I had a storybook on this, and they showed this in school. Now, where were you born again?
I was born in Brussels, Belgium.
Okay. And so I knew, but real quick, just to get back into my background, I knew of this segment for years. Well, my whole life before I saw this movie. And I assumed when I was a little kid that Peter and the Wolf was its own movie. I didn't know that it was a segment in the movie. Now, was this popular in Russia, this piece? Did your dad like this?
Yeah, this is a popular, piece in Russia.
Mm-hmm.
And it's in Russian, Peter is Petya, and Wolf is Volk.
Okay. And what did you think of Disney's adaptation? Did you enjoy it, or were you like, what the fuck is this?
No, it's good. They added a lot of flourishes.
Well, yeah, they added his Disney touches.
Yeah. So a lot of it is it's a little corny.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. I want to see like the real. There's a weird one.
I think somebody did do a real version of it.
Yeah, there are like some weird versions of this. Like David Bowie narrates one. Mm-hmm. That's an interesting thing to see. Bono, actually created a book. Of it. Really? The art is really strange and dark.
Weird Al Yankovic did a version of this.
Did he really?
Yeah, like a new wave version of it in the 80s. So, okay, so we got Peter and the Wolf. Now the next one, again, this is another segment I forgot. It was Benny Goodman and his quartet doing the song after you're. By the way, it's so weird that I'm doing a podcast.
Were they making this for 90-year-old people at the?
It's so weird that
retirement
you're doing a podcast
back then,
and I'm talking about Benny fucking.
Who's going to be listening to this?
Well, my podcast?
Yeah. How? I mean, this has to be played for senior citizens.
This movie?
Yeah, they're the only ones who are aware of it.
I know.
They'll be like, "Oh, this takes me back."
Well, after you've gone, it's
to the good old days.
What'd you think of this segment? You piece.
Which one is this?
It's the musical instruments come to life and they like dance around and shit.
I mean, it's all.
I don't remember it.
All of it's forgettable.
Yeah. Except
for the whale and Peter and the Wolf, I guess.
Well, this one's not forgettable. You were freaking out. Johnny Fedora and Alice of the Blue Bonnet. The Andrews sisters sing this. What'd you get this fucking thing? I thought this was this was bizarre.
I like that they go bizarre.
Yeah,
you don't see Disney doing like weird stuff like this anymore. You know?
They're not taking any risks like this.
This is very, very it's like two hats in a window of a boutique.
Once Little Mermaid came out, they said fuck risks because they were taking risks in the 80s and it didn't really pay off.
No.
But what did you think? Real quick, let's summarize. two hats fall in love, fuck, have babies.
Baby hats, yeah.
Yeah, then the girl hat
Bonnets.
Bonnets. The girl hat gets sold, and then the male hat has to fucking find her. And it's basically his quest to rape hats.
The male hat goes through hell,
Mm-hmm.
and then the happy ending, they get separated. No mention of the baby hats at all.
No,
we're
they leave
now
their baby
orphaned.
They're like, fuck the baby hats.
And then like the hats, the happy ending is that they reunite at the end, the two hat lovers, and they're now the tops of horses' heads. I mean, and no one notices that these hats are alive.
Yeah.
And not just fucking, but also the hats are creating babies.
Yeah. The hats. So she has a hat vagina where baby hats came out.
Yeah, I want to see a hat vagina.
I do too. That's fucking. That's it.
Listen,
it's weird.
There were some bleak moments in my life where I would have fucked a hat vagina.
That should be and they reboot American Pie. He fucks the hat vagina. He watches this, and it says, "I'm gonna fuck a hat. See what happens." Now the finale, and this is sung and narrated by Nelson Eddy, the whale who wanted to sing at the Met,
right?
Which is about a whale who can sing, and we see him at the Met, and he's doing this great concert, and we find out that it's all bullshit. He was imagining it, very much like the movie Brazil. Spoiler alert. And a fisherman harpoons the fucking thing and kills it dead.
No, it's not a fisherman.
Oh, what is it?
It's
a whale hunter?
the guy who is the head of the opera house, right? Because he thinks the guy the head of the
oh yes.
Yeah, he believes that the whale isn't naturally gifted.
And he's
opera singer, a miracle.
He swallowed an opera
He thinks there's an opera singer that he swallowed in there.
That's right. I'm sorry. I always tune out with this. This is the second time I've said. I can't believe I've seen this movie twice. I've seen this movie twice and Departed once.
You're doing a podcast. You got to pay attention to this.
Hey,
if you can't pay attention to this, how are people going to pay attention to this podcast?
Listen, this is going to be the lowest rated. Unless we promote it, this is going to be
this is incompetence.
Low rated episode. I don't know any fans that make mine fucking music.
No one even knows this exists.
But we gotta do them all because this is the story of how Disney. If we don't study these movies, we don't understand how the greats like Cinderella were made or Lady and the Tramp. He had to go see. Everyone just thinks,
I love that you brought me in for the most obscure Disney musical.
Because of Peter and the Wolf.
Even Disney doesn't know this is still out there. Disney will be shocked to know that anyone has seen this.
I thought the whale segment was boring. I didn't really like it. I thought it was a shitty way to end the movie.
I loved the back
out.
then Disney was so non-PC. Mm-hmm. So like you have the Italian head of the opera house who talks like Mario.
Yeah,
and it's all like, we gotta get a whale.
Fuck the whale.
I'm gonna shoot at the whale. So it's a lot of that.
Yeah,
mixed in with a whale who can not just sing but also. I mean, it was pretty ridiculous.
Well,
but I still kind of liked it.
The movie grossed about.
I wish the whale twerked. That would have made it.
That would have
better.
been good. The movie came out in August. What the fuck was the date? August 15th, 1946. It was made for about $1 million. I can't believe they put $1 million into this piece of shit. But it made over $3 million, and it didn't get a wide release.
Yeah, Disney can't fail, even when they put out shit.
Yeah. I
didn't think it was that bad. I think it's good, like just background soothing stuff. You know?
Yeah. But here, so he cut up as soon as after when the TV came out, he cut up a lot of these segments, which is why like I've seen Casey at bat on some Mickey Mouse VHS sets. I've seen it on TV. I've seen Peter and the Wolf on TV or in school. So this was cut up right away. And really, outside of North America, you can't get this. And people, if you're in England, I don't think they have this out for sale, which is weird to me. What was your favorite segment?
I like the whale thing because like it was like a little bit reminiscent of King Kong. Mm-hmm. So I was hoping that dream sequence where he's also like, how is the whale who's only known the ocean? How does he know what it's like to be in an opera house and to be a big star? I wish that sequence wasn't a dream sequence. I wish that was real, and he would have gone King Kong on them.
Oh, that would be cool.
And then just eat all of them after he sings, and then
That-
go
that
back
would've
to
been-
the
that would've been
ocean.
cool. I mean,
And he goes out a legend.
I know it's a little dark, but we got hats fucking. So
And then hunt him.
Yeah.
Now I have a reason to hunt him. He ate all your patrons, all your donors.
Mm-hmm.
Then you go out. The guy had no motivation, and you have to be no one stopped him to tell him, "Hey, man, even if there's an opera singer in his belly, that's not how it would work.
Yeah.
There's no way
He would digested the opera
like
singer.
you eat chicken, you don't hear clucking.
Well, Italians are idiots, as we.
That's
all
the lesson of this movie.
Italians are
Italians
fucking
are idiots, and women don't know anything,
Mm-hmm.
and black people didn't exist until a few years ago.
That's true. My favorite segment, real quick, is Peter and the Wolf because it reminds me of my childhood. It reminds me of the stories my parents would tell me. I like the Peter melody. Dun, 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 dun. I think that's kind of cool and fun. The rest of it, I'm not. And I like Casey and Back's second best because, again, my childhood shit. The rest of it is just completely forgettable.
Peter's horrible, though.
I liked it.
What do you mean? He's a coward.
Yeah, but I like
He
the segment.
watched the duck.
I like the music.
The duck get eaten alive by the wolf.
Maybe I'm a communist. I don't know. I like it.
Probably.
Yeah, you're a disgrace. You're not a good Russian. Shitting on Peter Wolf. So overall, would you give this movie a thumbs up or a thumbs down?
I don't know. If you're a moron, then I'm sure you'll love it.
I would say if you're gonna be like me, a complete lunatic, and collect all the movies, you should grab this. If you want to learn more about this weird period in Disney history, check it out. But if you're just a casual fan of animation, I would say don't go for this. It's boring.
It's boring. It's but
It's
still
kind of pointless.
It's still interesting.
It's interesting because
It's oddly interesting to
He's-
see what was
he's
going on in
just-
people's heads back
he's
then.
just trying to keep afloat. He's just
Yeah.
trying to. He's got to get to the 50s so he can start making shit like Cinderella and fucking Peter Pan, and then so he can build Disney World. Cinderella basically pays for Disney World or Disneyland, whatever the fuck. Which one was first? I think it was Disneyland. So he's got to get there. So he's just making shit to remind people, I make movies, motherfucker. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
He hadn't done live action yet. So yeah, these 6 movies are interesting because no one talks about them. No one knows really anything about them. And he's taking weird risks, which they don't do anymore.
Right.
So yeah, so it's interesting. If you're interested in history of Disney, check it out. Allan, do you plan on ever having children?
That's a good transition.
Well,
What a master interviewer you are.
This is a standard question.
This movie sucked. You having kids?
Are you planning on having kids?
I don't have any plans to have kids.
Okay.
I don't know.
Well,
Who the hell
if
knows
you
how
knew
that's gonna
someone
go.
with a kid, a little kid.
I have nephews.
Okay. Would you recommend your sister show this to her kids?
Yes.
Why?
Because kids need to calm the fuck down.
Kids need to come. Kids need to be.
They need to realize that life can be boring and pointless, just like this movie.
Ugh.
Get used to it.
I think you should punish kids.
And
but
whales die, and like we said, Italians are morons.
put the Benny Goodman segment on repeat and watch them fucking blow their brains out. All right, Allan, where can people find you on social media?
IHateJews.com. No. I'm Jewish.
Walt Disney's-
Don't fucking one listener who's listening to this. Don't fucking attack me
Listen,
and write a blog.
Make
I'm
My
Jewish,
Music
and I've done a
episode-
lot of good things for Jews.
I'll tell you what's gonna happen. This is my plan. The Little Mermaid episode is probably gonna be huge in popularity. People are gonna be like, I gotta go back and listen to the old episodes, and then they're gonna listen to this, and they're gonna run out and buy Make My Music, and they're gonna be a huge fan of yours. So
I hope so.
So IHateJews.com. That was Walt's first site because he probably
Walt Disney would have loved that.
He probably
I'm sure if we went digging far enough, we might be able to find a cartoon or two that deals with those themes.
I almost feel like there is Walt Disney already had a website in his name in 1946. Like he was that ahead of the curve where he had some IHateJews.com. It registered his name. No, where can they find you online?
Allan Fuks, ALLANFUKS. That is my real name. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and message me, whatever. I perform all over the country.
Don't you have a podcast?
I got a podcast.
Yes.
Thank you, Ray.
Yes. Why don't you promote that?
All of a sudden, you became a professional.
Hey, you're a disgrace.
You're a racist.
Listen, when you make a podcast about Make Mine fucking music, you don't need to be a professional. All right. Talk about your podcast.
You have a great dog, though. You have
Thank you.
2 dogs. For anyone who hasn't paid attention to Ray's social media, for
The dogs are all over the podcast too, because they're always like on top of my guests.
he's on top of me right now.
Jeez.
So I have 2 podcasts. One called The Week in Sex. Another one coming out called Judges of History, which I'm super excited about.
Who are you doing that with?
I'm doing that with some big people. I'm going to make an announcement. Nope.
Just Keanu.
We're going to get some incredible guests.
All right, Keanu and Jason.
So check it out.
All right, so you can catch Keanu. No, I'm joking. No one's gonna get that. Keanu will never be on this podcast, at least not until some changes are made. All right,
Keanu is definitely good. I bet you she's going to be on this podcast.
Well, maybe when we get to like shit, like in the 2000s, like
If she bats her eyes at you and puts her hand on
you
your
think she's
shoulder,
do you think
you
she's-
will run to get your podcast equipment.
How old was she in 2000?
And she won't have her reviewing some shitty fucking D-list cartoon. You'll be like,
will.
You'll be like, Keanu, you want to talk about Frozen?
No.
You want to?
Actually, she
what
probably-
what's been a huge money grosser that people care about?
I want to have someone super young for Frozen. She's not that young. Do you think she? How old was she?
How
when-
young do you think she's fucking in her 20s, early
Yeah, but
20s?
how old do you think she was in 200001?
I don't know. She's like an embryo. Whatever.
Well, she because
She was inside a hat's
maybe
vagina.
I'll have her do.
She was inside a hat's pussy.
Lilo. No, I'm gonna have Yumi do Lilo and Stitch. Never mind. That's because
I want to do Milo.
What?
I want to do Milo and Stitch.
Milo.
Milo
Jovovich?
Yiannopoulos, yeah.
Yakovlevich, what the fuck. All right. So if you like Disney movies, you should give Week in Sex.
If you like Disney movies, you should run out into traffic
You're a
and bang your
music
head
fan.
against the wall before you even think about buying
There's
this.
somebody who's like gonna be browsing Spotify, and he's like, I wonder if they have any Make My Music tracks. He's gonna be like, oh my god, a podcast about it. It's like some little old 86-year-old man. He's gonna be like, why is there talk if they hate the Jews and Keanu's pussy? This is horrible. Okay. That's the Make My Music episode. Join us. Well, not Allan. He'll be home crying. Join me next week when I'll be talking about Fun and Fancy Free with Casey Aurora. So I'm sure he'll be delighted to watch that abortion. Thank you so much, people. And make sure you follow us on social media, Disney Movie Stack on Instagram and Twitter. And I'll see you next week. Thanks for listening. Allan, thank you so much for coming on the show.
You're welcome.